Now we'll go over the SQL for the database. First, let's talk about the creation of the database. This script will create the database with all the tables. First, it checks if there's already a database that exists with the name of the database that we're about to create. If there is one, it drops it, as in it deletes it, and that way we can create a brand new one and set it for our use. This set foreign key checks to 0 disables the checking for the foreign keys because we have dependencies between our tables that cannot be fixed by moving the tables. We have to disable this check, then create the table, and then enable it again. So for the employee table, we have a primary key, which is employee ID. We have a string, a varchar with 255 characters for the name of the employee, and we have these other two variables that were described in the ER diagram in the schema design. Then, after we enable the foreign key checks, we're going to create the Bellman queue, which has a primary key that has an auto increment property, which means that it's going to automatically increase from 1 all the way to the max capacity of our int. That way we don't have to generate the value for the queue, it's going to be automatically generated. We have the Bellman ID, which is a foreign key before we set that it is a reference so that it gets updated every time there's a change. And that was what was causing the problem with the foreign keys. We also have the time card, which the interesting characteristics that we can see are that the primary key is composed of 2 attributes instead of 1. Therefore, we have to declare it this way. And we have a foreign key, which is the employee ID, and we specify where it's being referenced from. We also have the task table, which has 1 primary key, and it stores the type, the location, the task state. The task state, we created an enum, and this is going to be the identifier to for which sub entity it is. Either this we have it as F or C to simplify the storage space. And then for the comment, we actually added more characters. That way, there's more for the user to input for the comments. We have the table for the assignment, which has a composite primary key. So we have 2 partials, and it has those 2 are actually foreign keys in 2 different tables, and therefore they're referenced here. There's the finished task. Again, there is a foreign key reference, and there is the current task. See, here we don't have a primary keys because these are sub-entities. So we're going to run this script to create our tables. As you can see, they all have been created. The next step is to populate our tables for the simulation. And here in this database population script, we have set the loading data for each different table. And as you see, we had again to disable the check for the foreign keys for this particular table, and then we enable it again so that it's always checking that we don't have any errors. So an example of one of these text files is right here. We put it here. It's a simple text file. And as you see, this is for the time card, and it has the employee ID, the date, the time in, and the time out. We go back to the creation of our database. We get a time card. You see that the primary,